Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys watching today's video and spending some time with me. And guys, today we're going to be talking about underspins, when they work, how you want to fish them, conditions they work the best, because this time of year, guys, from about November till early March, is some of the best time to fish an underspin. So we're going to give you guys a little tutorial on that. Also, guys, just a couple quick housekeeping tips here to keep the tackle room lights on. If you guys don't mind, please swing by fishthemoment.com and check out my lake map breakdowns and my virtual lessons I do with Fish the Moment. These are great resources to help you guys out with your fishing. It's a good way to support the channel. And also, anybody out there interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, just shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler, and I'll give you the details for that. So thanks for the support on that, guys. Much appreciated. Okay, guys, here's the basic underspin. If you're not familiar with it, an underspin is basically like some type of a finesse jig head with a wire hook with a spinner on the end of it. And basically, it's a jig head that's got this spinner attractant on in there, and you usually rig it with some type of a fluke like this. I'll rig it up here to show you what it looks like. Now, the thing about this underspin, guys, this is classified pretty much, it's notoriously famous to be associated with wintertime bass fishing in cold water. And all of the success that I've had on it has been in this time frame, the winter time of the year. And I'll explain a little bit what I'm talking about there. But basically, you just run your fluke up on it like this, and it really resembles a bait fish. I mean, you can use a lot of different length trailers, but I just prefer that Zoom Super Fluke in about a 3/8 ounce of a head. And also, I'll put my tackle warehouse link in the description, and I'll show you guys can get this whole setup if you're interested in that. But that's the way it is right there. It's like a shad type deal. Cover a lot of water with it. It sinks fast, goes through the water column real subtly with this little spinner blade fluttering all the time on it. Now, the bait itself is pretty critical too, but more critical than the bait is where you want to fish it in the wintertime. Underspins are notoriously good for fishing in what you call ditches. Now, ditches, there's actually a couple different classifications for ditches. The ditches that I'm talking about specifically is if you're fishing a man-made lake, and say, for example, you pick out one or two of the major creek arms in the lake, and then in those creek arms, you're going to have coves that go off the side of those creek arms. In the wintertime, if you have water visibility, and this is a clear water technique, so you need water visibility of, I like it around 4 foot or greater, 3.5 foot at the minimum. But so if you've got water clarity of like 3.5 feet, when you go back into these coves, get in the middle of the coves and go about halfway back into the cove where the water depth is anywhere between 20 to 50 foot deep, and take this underspin and put it on like a 7-foot bait cast rod, like a medium heavy action bait cast rod with like 12-pound test fluorocarbon line, and throw it out there down the middle of the cove and maybe off to the sides just a little bit, and just count it down to where the depth you think the fish are at. Now, how you determine that is if you graph through a cove, pay attention to like if you see any bait fish activity or any fish activity on your 2D sonar, and try to use that as a gauge to the approximate depth that you need to let the underspin sink. So say, for example, if I pull in the middle of this cove and I'm in 35 or 40 foot of water, and I'm starting to notice I see some shad schools suspended maybe 10 or 15 feet down, I'll cast the underspin out there, count it down to where I think it's in about 10 to 15 feet of water, and just start reeling it like with a slow medium retrieve. You don't have to do anything to it. Once in a while, I'll pop it a little bit, maybe like that, but just start reeling with a straight retrieve. And then all of a sudden the strike, either your line just gets heavy like that, or your line just ticks and they'll have it. And it's a really good technique for spotted bass. If you guys if you fish lakes like Lake Hartwell, South Carolina, Lake Lanier in Georgia, some of the eastern Kentucky, western Tennessee lakes, Ozark lakes, a great lure for the wintertime fishing. Now, you can also fish it around points or over submerged timber or anywhere you think bass are that are suspended, but it's primarily a technique for suspended fish. Now, you can also crawl it just off the bottom. I've caught fish throwing it out on points and letting it hit the bottom and just reeling it back to the boat, maybe 2 or 3 feet off the bottom. But the best way that you're going to catch them on this is in those ditches Or also another thing that works good is if you have some floating docks in the lake that are over deep water, like the marina docks, those fish will suspend around those deeper marina docks in the wintertime too. And the color of trailer that I use, just stay with some type of a shad pattern. If it's a cloudy day, I may go to like a little brighter, like a pearl or albino. And if it's clear or real clear water, I'll have more of a translucent look to it. And again, the 3/8 ounce head is my favorite size with that. But anyway, guys, a lot of people don't fish it. They sort of get intimidated by an underspin. They don't maybe not really know how to fish it or how to work it, but it's super easy to fish. And there's probably nothing easier than getting in the middle of the cove and just throwing it down the middle and working your way to the back. And what I usually like to do with that is, say for example, if the water visibility is like 4 foot, I'll start out in 35 to 40 foot of water and I'll work my way back into the back of the cove until the water depth gets like less than 20 foot. Now, once it's less than 20 foot, I usually don't catch that much and I turn around and go to a different cove. But anyway, really good technique to catch them in the winter. It works all winter long. It's good for catching numbers and good size fish too, both. So give it a try. I think it'll add a new technique to your arsenal. So we'll talk later.